then these tasks, the success of these tasks will depend upon only the strong support and commitment of the member states, including the United Kingdom. The Security Council and member states of the United Nations have given me many missions, but this mission should be accompanied by support, political support, and more importantly, some physical resource support, including troops, police, vital capabilities, and finance. We must deliver results for a more just world. This year marks the 60th anniversary of the Declaration of Universal Declaration of Human Rights. There are still so many people around the world whose human rights are abused and totally neglected. We must work to provide necessary humanitarian protection to those people. At the same time, UN must work overall to address the global threats, which spare no one in today's world. They require us to advance the global common good by securing global public goods in the areas of climate change, global health, counterterrorism, and disarmament. The United Nations is uniquely placed to lead this effort. This is my central message, in fact, for you today. I'm convinced that if we do not collaborate on these 4 global challenges now, they will escalate to global threats of irreversible proportions in the future. These issues differ qualitatively from all other matters of global concerns today because they endanger all countries, rich or poor, small or big, without boundaries. And secondly, they cross borders and are highly contagious. And thirdly, they can only be resolved with action by all nations in a concerted manner. For friends of the United Nations, the need for collective action represents the silver lining to some very dark clouds. Today's complex and global challenges represent exactly the environment in which our United Nations should thrive, because no country can resolve these problems on its own. However strong, however resourceful one country may be, United Kingdom is certainly one of those countries, strong in terms of resources, in terms of political power. But you cannot do it alone. We need concerted and collective responses. The global responses require global threats. Global challenges require global responses. Let me tell you more in detail on 4 specific issues. First, on climate change, which I personally have taken as #1 priority of my mandate as Secretary General. Last December, in the best tradition of the Royal Geographic Society, I journeyed to the Antarctica. What I found was a place that would probably unrecognizable to the people like Robert Scott or Ernest Shackleton. I saw a continent on the verge of a catastrophe that could affect the entire world. The glaciers on King George Island have shrunken by 10%. Some in Admiralty Bay have retreated by 25 kilometers. The tragedy of the Antarctica is being repeated 1 million times over in every part of our world. We are facing extended droughts, unprecedented cyclones, and other effects that are wreaking havoc across the planet. The bottom line is that our climate is changing fast, and the world has been too slow in responding to these challenges. Since taking over as Secretary General, I have made it my priority to beat the drums on this impending crisis. I am determined to get the UN and our member states to step up action to meet these immense challenges. My efforts received an unexpected boost with the award of last year's Nobel Peace Prize on UN Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC. The panel's research established that climate change was not only occurring, but accelerating, and that man-made emissions were largely responsible. Also last year, the UN-sponsored climate talks in Bali produced a very important Bali roadmap. As you all agree, we must build upon this Bali roadmap so that, as Lord Haney said, by the end of December next year, we must be able to agree on a globally agreed agreement, convention, replacing this Kyoto Protocol. These welcome developments have placed the UN squarely at the forefront of the climate change response. My colleagues and I are determined to capitalize on the momentum generated and push for decisive action, supported by all our member states. Indeed, as I tell world leaders, whatever the cost of tackling climate change, and they are not as much as you might think, the cost of inaction is far, far greater than cost of action. The people say that this action should have taken yesterday. But if we take action today, it may not be too late. That is why I have been emphasizing the urgency of this issue. This issue should be dealt with a sense of greatest urgency.